Max was a golden retriever with soft fur that shined like the sun. He lived with his owner, Emily, in a cozy little house at the end of Oak Street. Their life together was filled with laughter and love. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight peeked through the window, Max would leap onto Emily's bed, wagging his tail excitedly. His joyful barks would wake her up, and they would start their day with a fun routine. Emily loved to take Max for long walks in the park. They would stroll along the winding paths, Max sniffing every flower and tree he could find. He loved chasing butterflies and running after squirrels, trying to catch them but always coming up empty-pawed. Emily would laugh and call out to him, her voice full of warmth and encouragement. Each time they played fetch, Max would bring back the ball, his bright eyes shining with pride. Their afternoons were often spent in the backyard. Max had a favorite spot under the big oak tree where he would lie down and watch the clouds float by. Emily would sit nearby with a book, occasionally glancing over at her furry friend to see him dreaming or taking a nap in the shade. When she read aloud, Max would perk up his ears, as if he understood every word. Weekends were extra special. Emily would take Max to the nearby lake. They would splash in the water together. Max loved to swim. He would paddle around happily, sometimes diving under to retrieve sticks that Emily tossed into the water. After their swims, they'd dry off in the sun, Max shaking his fluffy coat like a wet mop, sending water flying everywhere. Emily would giggle at his antics, giving him treats for being such a good boy. As winter approached, they enjoyed cozy nights indoors too. Emily would make hot cocoa while Max curled up next to her on the couch. They watched movies together, where Max seemed to be just as interested in the screen as she was. He loved snuggling close when she wrapped herself in a blanket. It was during these moments that their bond felt strongest, a warmth that went beyond just affection. But everything changed when Emily received an exciting job offer far away in another city. She had to pack her things and leave their home behind. The day of her departure was filled with mixed emotions, joy for her new adventure but sadness for leaving Max behind. She hugged him tightly before saying goodbye, promising she would come back to visit soon. At first, Emily's family tried to fill in for her absence. They took Max on walks and played with him as much as they could. But no matter how hard they tried, it wasn't the same without Emily's laughter and loving touch. Max spent his days waiting by the door, staring out into the distance as if he were hoping she would come back any moment. Days turned into nights, and soon enough, Max's spirit began to fade away. The vibrant dog who once brought so much joy now seemed lost in his own world of sadness. Despite their efforts to cheer him up with toys and treats, nothing seemed to work. His heart felt heavy without Emily by his side. As time passed, it became clear that something had to change for both Max and his family. Little did anyone know that soon there would be an unexpected turn in their story, one that would lead them on an adventure beyond what they could ever imagine. Emily packed her bags with both excitement and sadness swirling in her heart. As she pulled away from their home, Max stood at the door, his big brown eyes watching her leave, unable to understand why she was going. The car disappeared around the corner, and for Max, the world felt a bit darker. He wandered from room to room, looking for Emily as if she might suddenly return. Days turned into a week, and soon Emily's family came to help care for Max. They tried their best to fill the void left by Emily's absence. Max's Aunt Lisa would come every morning to take him out for walks, but instead of his usual excitement, he lagged behind her, pulling his leash as if he were still waiting for Emily to appear. "Come on, Max. Let's go," Lisa encouraged, attempting to coax him along the familiar path to the park. Yet Max's joyless demeanor buried any hope of getting in a fun game of fetch or chasing leaves in the wind. Instead, he trotted in silence, pausing occasionally to look around as though he thought he might spot Emily somewhere. His Uncle Tom tried offering Max his favorite treats, a squeaky toy that would usually have him bouncing around in joy, but all that did was elicit a few disinterested sniffs from Max. "Maybe he just needs some time," Tom told Lisa as they watched Max ignore anything they provided. As days turned into nights, it became clear something was seriously wrong. Lisa noticed that Max had stopped eating his food altogether. The vibrant energy he once displayed seemed dimmed as he curled up in the sunlight streaming through the house but didn't engage like he used to. Her heart sank every time she saw him lying there instead of joyfully frolicking. Each evening during dinner, Lisa found herself glancing over at the empty dish where Max's kibble lay untouched. "He won't even eat a single bite," she said with a mix of concern and heartbreak echoing in her voice. Max drifted back to Emily's scent that lingered in every corner of their home, her shoes by the door, her jacket thrown over the chair, and memories flooded back, days filled with joyful games at the lake, quiet companionship on chilly evenings, and endless cuddles on the couch while watching movies. Each reminder felt like a bittersweet sting that made him realize how much he missed her. Emily tried to call home regularly, but each time she did, Max would perk up his ears. Seeing no one responding excitedly any more deeply troubled her family. Max would stand with his tail wagging slightly when they took their phones to video call. But as soon as he realized it was only Lisa or Tom on screen and not Emily, he would sit down again, feeling deflated. As another day passed without him eating or enjoying playtime, the family began brainstorming ways to help Max feel better. They brought out new toys and tried different foods to grab his attention, but nothing resulted in even a flicker of excitement. Renewed worry settled heavier on their hearts. They couldn't lose sweet Max too. Emily's family understood how special he was. It wasn't just about food and games, it was about love and connection that could only be revived by seeing Emily again. Each one silently hoped they could work together for his sake before it was too late. As the days passed, the worry in Emily's family grew heavier. They watched helplessly as Max seemed to fade before their eyes. His once shiny coat dulled, and his bright, playful spirit dimmed into a shadow of its former self. Lisa and Tom exchanged glances filled with concern while they went about their daily routines, trying to cheer him up. Every morning, Lisa would bring out Max's favorite toy, a bright blue ball that used to send him bounding across the yard. "Look what I have for you, Max," she would call out cheerfully, tossing the ball a short distance. But instead of racing after it, Max would merely sniff the grass where it landed before laying his head down with a soft sigh. The joy they once shared over simple games like fetch felt like a distant memory. Tom tried to bring some energy back into Max's life by introducing new treats, a variety of biscuits that usually made his tail wag with anticipation. He set them down in front of Max and watched closely, hoping for even a single nibble. Max sniffed them cautiously but turned away, leaving the tasty morsels untouched on the floor. "He must really be missing Emily," Tom murmured, shaking his head in despair. The family grew increasingly alarmed when Max started to refuse water too. They filled his bowl fresh every day, hoping he might take a sip, but each time he walked past it without acknowledging it at all. The sight of his empty food dish started to haunt Lisa, reminders of happier times when she would fill it with joy, only to find it quickly emptied by her lively companion. Concern deepened further as they noticed Max becoming more lethargic. Instead of running around or following them from room to room, he retreated to his favorite sunlit spot in the living room near the window. With his head resting on his paws, he would watch the world pass by outside, the birds flying overhead and children playing in the street, seemingly lost in thoughts of happier days playing alongside Emily. "Something has to change," Lisa said one evening as she sank into the couch beside Tom after another attempt at playtime had failed. "We can't let him go on like this." Her voice cracked slightly with emotion as she fought back tears. Determined not to give up on Max, they formed a plan. Every day after school and work, they tried new activities to lift his spirits. They took him for longer walks through different neighborhoods, hoping new sights and smells might spark some interest. They even baked homemade dog treats together, filling the house with delicious smells while imagining how excited Max would be for a fresh snack. But each effort felt like climbing a mountain. Every step forward seemed met with 2 steps back. The family grew weary from worry and fatigue as they balanced their daily lives with caring for their beloved dog. Late-night conversations were filled with plans and strategies on how to reconnect Max with joy, but nothing worked as hoped. The once vibrant golden retriever appeared more fragile each day, a stark reminder of how emotional bonds could affect physical well-being. It was hard to bear watching someone so lively becoming so withdrawn and weak. Even Tom found himself fighting back tears when he thought about losing his furry friend. Through all this, Emily called regularly from her new home, expressing her love and concern for Max during their video chats. But despite her soothing words reaching him through the screen, it was clear that only her presence could bring back the spirit that had departed from Max's heart. As everyone settled into bed at night, they hoped deep down that somehow, something would change for both Max and Emily before it was too late. The first week after Emily's departure felt like an eternity for Max and the family. Each day blurred into the next, marked by a sense of loss that hung in the air like a thick fog. Max would wake up every morning, instinctively hoping to see Emily's familiar figure walk through the door, but each time he was met with disappointment. His routine had turned into a ritual of waiting by the entrance, his big brown eyes fixated on the doorknob as if willing it to turn. While Lisa and Tom went about their daily lives, Max was almost like a ghost in their house. He drifted from room to room but rarely engaged with anything around him. The favorite ball Lisa had tried to coax him with now lay untouched in the corner, its bright color a stark contrast to the dullness that surrounded Max's spirit. The once bouncy golden retriever now seemed more like a statue, still and silent, lost in his thoughts. Every morning at breakfast, Lisa would fill his bowl with food, placing it down with hope shining in her eyes. "You need to eat something, buddy," she would encourage gently. But Max would merely sniff at his food before walking away, leaving his bowl untouched once again. It was heartbreaking for Lisa to witness. She missed the days when he would practically dance around her feet at mealtime, eagerly anticipating each bite. Instead of following them around as he once did, Max took to curling up on the doormat where Emily used to sit when they enjoyed quiet evenings together. It was as if he believed that by staying close to where she had been, he could somehow summon her back home. He would lay there for hours with his head resting on his paws, occasionally raising his gaze as if expecting her to appear at any moment. Lisa and Tom exchanged worried glances during dinner every night. Max's empty dish served as a constant reminder of how deeply Emily's absence affected him. They tried everything they could think of, bringing him outside to play fetch in the yard or taking him on longer walks around the neighborhood in hopes of distracting him from his sadness. Yet each time they called out to him or encouraged him to join in, Max simply stared off into the distance as if caught in a world where only he and Emily existed. One evening, after another failed attempt at getting him to eat, Lisa sank down beside Max on the floor. "I wish you could understand that she's coming back," she whispered softly while running her fingers through his fur. In response, Max turned his head slightly toward her but didn't offer any comfort or indication that he understood her words. As night fell and shadows danced across the walls of their home, Lisa made herself a promise: she would not give up on Max or let him slip away into his sadness without a fight. They needed a plan, a way to reconnect with what once brought joy back into their lives. As she settled onto the couch beside Tom that evening, thoughts raced through her mind. "Maybe we can create something special for him," she suggested suddenly. "A little surprise that reminds him of Emily." Tom raised an eyebrow in curiosity while considering what kind of surprise could spark joy in their beloved dog. Together they brainstormed ideas late into the night, thinking about all the things Emily loved doing with Max and how they could recreate those moments even without her there. Little did they know that this small spark of hope might lead them closer not only to helping Max but also unraveling a larger mystery about their furry friend's unbreakable bond with Emily. As the days turned into 2 weeks, the situation with Max grew increasingly desperate. The family had tried everything to lift his spirits, but nothing seemed to work. Max remained withdrawn, his sunlit spot on the doormat becoming his only sanctuary. Lisa and Tom's hearts ached as they watched him grow weaker. He was losing weight and the sparkle in his eyes faded further each day. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky with hues of orange and pink, Lisa prepared dinner while Tom cleaned up around the house. Max lay on the floor, staring out through the glass door. The family had become accustomed to his silence, yet that night felt different. An unsettling tension hung in the air, leaving them fidgety as if sensing something was about to happen. After dinner, Lisa finished up in the kitchen and decided to take Max outside for some fresh air. "Come on, buddy," she gently coaxed, kneeling beside him. "Let's go for a little walk." But Max barely stirred, just lifting his head slightly before placing it back down with a sigh. Frustrated but determined, Lisa opened the door wide enough for him to step outside, hoping that a change of scenery might spark some interest. Tom stepped out with them, eager to support his wife but equally concerned for their furry friend. They stood there for a moment as Max slowly shuffled outside but remained near the entrance, still lost in his thoughts. As darkness settled over their neighborhood, a soft breeze carried sounds of laughter from nearby yards where children were playing. For a fleeting moment, Max perked up at the sounds of joy and excitement. He turned his head towards the noises that once enticed him to participate. But just as quickly as interest sparked within him, it faded again. While Tom observed in silence, Lisa turned away for just a moment to grab a treat from her pocket. When she looked back up, her heart dropped. Max was gone. "Max," she called out in sudden panic. "Where are you?" Tom searched around frantically while both of them rushed to scan their yard and beyond. The night felt heavy and foreboding as they realized their beloved dog had disappeared into the dark. Fear gripped their hearts as they moved into action, racing around their backyard calling out his name louder and louder. "Max! Come here!" Lisa shouted desperately into the night. But there was no response, only silence wrapped around them like a thick blanket. They ventured out into the street with flashlights in hand, illuminating every shadow as they called for him repeatedly. Neighbors noticed their plight and joined in the search. Some brought flashlights while others rallied together to check their backyards. The minutes slipped away agonizingly, each second felt like an eternity filled with dread. With each passing moment without finding Max, despair began creeping in alongside panic. Where could he have gone? Did something scare him? Although they felt hopeless wandering through streets filled with uncertainty and unfamiliarity, they remained determined to find their missing friend. Then, just when all hope seemed lost, Tom suggested checking nearby houses where children often played in case Max had wandered off toward anything familiar or enticing, a stray tennis ball or perhaps another dog scent lingering in the air. As they turned onto Maple Street, the road leading towards a quaint neighborhood lined with trees, their hearts raced at any sound that pierced through the stillness of night. Little did they know that Max was on an unexpected journey of his own, one that would lead him somewhere surprising where Emily's love still lingered most profoundly. As the search for Max intensified, Lisa and Tom felt a wave of despair wash over them. They could hardly believe that their beloved golden retriever had vanished into the night. The once familiar sounds of their neighborhood now seemed foreign and unsettling, each rustle and whisper echoing their anxiety. With flashlights in hand, they scoured every corner, hoping to catch a glimpse of his familiar golden fur or hear his joyful bark. "Max!" Lisa called out repeatedly, her voice tinged with desperation. She glanced into neighbors' yards, hoping to find him curled up in a sunbeam or chasing after a ball. Yet, even the friendly faces of their neighbors who had joined the search couldn't raise her spirits. Max was nowhere to be found. The evening grew darker, shadows stretching across the lawn like the fearful tendrils of doubt. Each passing minute felt like an eternity filled with worry. "He might be lost forever," Tom said quietly, fear creeping into his tone as he shined his flashlight down an empty alleyway. It was hard for them to shake off that bleak thought. Their hearts grew heavier with every moment they failed to find him, and memories of Max raced through Lisa's mind, a flash of him wagging his tail happily as he sprinted around in the yard or gently resting his head on her lap while they watched movies together. Friends and neighbors moved from house to house, calling out for Max. Grief-stricken parents held their children close, whispering reassurances about their dog's safe return. Nevertheless, the reality was harsh. Max had not returned home, and it felt as if hope was slipping away like sand through their fingers. "We have to split up," Lisa suggested through tears as she wiped the sweat from her brow. "Maybe we'll have better luck checking more places." Tom nodded solemnly, understanding that time was of the essence. They decided to cover different streets nearby, their determination fueled by the love they had for Max and the need to bring him home. They ventured into alleyways where they hadn't originally thought to look, checking dumpsters and beneath porches in case he had sought shelter anywhere nearby. "Max!" Tom shouted again as his heart raced with worry. A few lights flickered on in houses as curious neighbors opened doors to see what was happening. As Lisa turned down Maple Street, she spotted a small group of children playing outside. A pang of longing struck her, their laughter reminded her of all the happy times she'd shared with Max at the park. "Have you seen a golden retriever?" she approached hesitantly, breathless with urgency. The kids shook their heads, but then one boy piped up, "We saw a dog running past earlier. He looked sad." Lisa felt her heart leap into her throat. Could it be? "Which way did he go?" she asked intently. "Down that way toward the big trees," another child pointed excitedly. Thanking them profusely, Lisa dashed off in that direction, praying desperately that it was indeed Max. Meanwhile, Tom continued calling for Max in different neighborhoods, his heart thumping loudly against his chest as he imagined how scared Max must be feeling alone in the dark. The longer they searched without finding him, the more hopelessness seeped into their hearts. After what felt like hours of frantic searching with no sign of their furry friend, exhaustion began to overwhelm them both. Just when they thought they could search no further, Lisa reached a dead-end alley lined with tall trees where the air felt thick and charged. Something inside told her that they needed to keep going to somewhere in this vast world. Max could still be waiting for them to find him again. Little did they know that fate had a plan for reuniting them in an unexpected way. The following morning, the sun broke through the clouds, casting warm light across the neighborhood. Lisa and Tom had scarcely slept, their bodies heavy with exhaustion from the long night of searching and worry. Despite their fatigue, they both rose early, yearning for any sign that Max had returned home. Each creak of the floorboards as they moved through the house felt like a reminder of his absence. Sipping their coffee at the kitchen table, Lisa tried to appear optimistic. Maybe he found a friend, she suggested weakly, but deep down she felt a knot of anxiety twisting tighter in her stomach. Tom nodded in agreement, yet his eyes were clouded with doubt. Just as they began to settle into a quiet despair, the phone rang. Lisa jumped at the sudden sound, her heart racing as she picked up the receiver. "Hello," she answered, hoping against hope that it was a call about Max. On the other end was Mrs. Jenkins, an elderly neighbor who lived a few houses down. "Good morning, dear. I hope I'm not disturbing you," she said with a kind tone. "I wanted to let you know that I saw Max last night." Lisa's heart leapt at the mention of Max's name. "You did? Where? Is he okay?" she asked eagerly, gripping the edge of the table to steady herself. "Well," Mrs. Jenkins hesitated before continuing, "I saw him running toward that big house on Elm Street, the one with all the colorful flowers and that nice garden. He looked like he knew where he was going." "Elm Street?" Tom exclaimed from across the table as he leaned in closer to hear. "That's on the other side of town." "Yes," Mrs. Jenkins confirmed. "I thought it was odd at first. I didn't know if maybe he was trying to find his way back home. But he seemed so determined." Tom shot a glance at Lisa, his face filled with mixed emotions. Both hope and fear bubbled within them as they processed this new information. "Thank you for telling us. We need to go there right away," Lisa said quickly, her voice trembling with urgency. After hanging up, they barely had time to gather their thoughts before they grabbed their jackets and rushed out the door. The unfamiliar tension in their hearts transformed into renewed energy. Perhaps this would lead them to Max after all. As they drove through town, Tom navigated while Lisa scanned every street corner for familiar sights or signs of their missing dog. The world outside seemed almost surreal as everything passed in a blur. Their minds were set firmly on one goal: finding Max. When they finally reached Elm Street, the beauty of the blooming flowers and serene gardens contrasted sharply with their feelings of dread. The house where Mrs. Jenkins lived came into view. Tall trees surrounded it like sentinels guarding a secret world. Lisa's heart raced as they parked outside and stepped onto the sidewalk. "Do you think he could really be here?" she asked nervously. Tom nodded but took a deep breath to calm himself. "Let's not jump to conclusions just yet." They walked cautiously up to the front door and knocked loudly. A moment later, it swung open, revealing a cheerful woman with wild hair and sun-kissed cheeks. "Hello. Can I help you?" she greeted warmly. "We're looking for our dog. He may have come here last night," Lisa explained hurriedly, her eyes wide with anticipation. "Oh. You must mean Max," the woman exclaimed with an understanding smile. "I saw him in my yard earlier today. He's such a sweet boy." Lisa's heart soared at hearing his name again. "Is he here now?" she pressed eagerly. The woman motioned for them to follow her into the backyard where flowers bloomed vibrantly under the morning sun. As they stepped through the gate, their breaths caught as they saw Max standing there, wagging his tail enthusiastically among colorful flower beds. "Max!" Lisa shouted joyfully as she rushed forward, dropping to her knees in pure relief and happiness. Max bounded toward her without hesitation, filling the air around them with warmth and love once more. Little did they know that this reunion was just the beginning of an adventure that would reveal something truly special about their beloved golden retriever and his unbreakable bond with Emily. As Lisa and Tom rushed into the backyard, joy radiated from their faces upon seeing Max wagging his tail with pure delight. Reunited at last, the tension and worry of the past weeks melted away, replaced by the warm embrace of love and relief. However, as they held Max close, an unspoken question lingered in their minds: why had he journeyed to this particular house on Elm Street? Tom knelt down beside Max, running his fingers through the golden fur. "What made you come here, buddy?" he asked thoughtfully. Lisa stood nearby, absorbing the cheerful scene but feeling a flicker of confusion. They exchanged glances filled with curiosity, both aware that there was more to Max's adventure than just a simple escape. After spending a few moments reconnecting with Max in the sunny backyard filled with blooming flowers, Lisa turned to the cheerful woman who had welcomed them. "Could you tell us what you saw when he came here?" she asked, eager for any clues that might shed light on Max's unexpected journey. "Oh, for sure," the woman replied enthusiastically. "I was in my garden when I spotted him wandering over. He looked a bit lost but also so determined. It felt like he had a mission." Her eyes sparkled with amusement as she recalled how Max trotted through her flower beds like he owned the place. "That's so interesting," Lisa remarked, her brow furrowed in thought. "He must have sensed something." The idea seemed implausible yet somehow plausible at the same time. Animals often had an uncanny ability to understand their surroundings better than humans did. Max sat attentively near Lisa's feet, as if he too were trying to comprehend why this garden caught his attention. The colorful blossoms danced gently in the breeze around them while birds chirped cheerfully overhead. Nature seemed vibrant and alive in contrast to their recent worries. Realizing it was time to explore further, Lisa took a deep breath and said, "We should find out what else is here that could have drawn him in. Maybe there's something familiar about this place?" She glanced at Tom and saw determination mirrored back at her. They were ready for whatever answers awaited them. The cheerful woman smiled warmly and offered, "You're welcome to look around. My name is Karen, by the way." She led them toward another part of her yard where taller trees offered shade and peaceful quiet. As they walked together deeper into the garden, they spotted a small path leading toward a private area bursting with vibrant colors and different scents, a floral paradise welcoming them into its embrace. This hidden gem felt special even to Lisa. Perhaps it was here that Max sensed some connection to Emily. Lisa noticed a particular patch of wildflowers that seemed to brighten even more under the sunlight, their colors reminding her so vividly of the bouquet Emily once picked during a family picnic at the park. It knocked against her heart like a gentle whisper urging her to remember special moments shared with both Emily and Max. Could it be that Emily had come here before? Confusion morphed into hope as they continued walking, taking note of every flower and plant surrounding them. Each time her thoughts returned to this possibility, she felt renewed energy surging within. Perhaps Max had led them not just on an instinctual journey but onto a path tied closely to emotions wrapped in love. After wandering through Karen's magical garden for some time, a place filled with memories woven together naturally, the atmosphere shifted. Lisa stopped suddenly as she picked up on an unfamiliar scent mixed in among the flowers, something distinctly reminiscent of Emily. Her heart raced as anticipation built. Was it possible that this dear friend of theirs had visited without them knowing? With newfound excitement bubbling in her heart, Lisa turned to Tom and said eagerly, "Maybe we can ask Karen more about this place. If Emily has been here before," but Lisa never finished her sentence because they heard a soft rustle behind them, a hopeful sound beckoning them forward toward beautiful possibilities waiting just ahead. As Lisa and Tom continued to explore the enchanting garden, the scent of blooming flowers filled the air, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. With each step deeper into the vibrant landscape, they felt a growing connection not only to Max but also to Emily. Memories of happy moments spent together flooded their minds, and the mystery of why Max had come here began to unravel. Just then, Lisa caught a glimpse of movement near the front of the house. Her heart raced as she turned to Tom, her eyes wide with excitement. "Do you see that?" she whispered, pointing toward the front door. Tom squinted, and his expression shifted from curiosity to disbelief. "It can't be," he murmured, quickening his pace as they made their way back toward the entrance. As they approached, their hearts soared at the sight before them. There was Max, sitting proudly at the front door, his tail wagging furiously as if he had been waiting for them all along. "Max!" Lisa cried out, her voice filled with joy. She rushed forward, her arms open wide, and Max leaped into her embrace, showering her with enthusiastic kisses. It was as if he had known they would come for him all along, and now that they were there, he couldn't contain his happiness. Tom joined in the reunion, kneeling down beside them. "You had us worried sick," he said between laughs, petting Max's soft fur as the dog wiggled with delight. The warmth of their reunion melted away any lingering worries. It felt like a dream come true. After the initial excitement subsided, Lisa pulled back slightly to look into Max's eyes. "What were you doing here, buddy?" she asked gently, still puzzled by his sudden journey to this house. Max tilted his head as if trying to communicate something profound. Tom stood up and glanced around the neighborhood. "What do we do now?" he wondered aloud, looking back at Karen's house. "Maybe there's something here we need to learn." Just as they began to calm down from their joyful reunion, Karen stepped out of her house with a warm smile on her face. "I'm so glad he found his way back to you," she exclaimed. "He's such a sweet boy. I've never seen a dog so determined before." Lisa smiled gratefully at Karen. "Thank you for taking care of him," she replied sincerely. "But we are really curious about why he came here in the first place." Karen nodded thoughtfully and gestured for them to sit on her porch steps. "You know," she began, "dogs often have an incredible sense about things. I've noticed Max exploring my garden every time he's come by, but what struck me most was how he seemed drawn to certain flowers." Lisa's heart raced at this new information. "Certain flowers," she echoed. "Yes. There is a patch of wildflowers that always brightens up when he's around," Karen explained. "It almost felt like he was looking for something or someone." Tom glanced at Lisa, excitement bubbling within him again. "Could it be related to Emily?" he pondered aloud. "Maybe," Lisa replied softly, her mind racing with possibilities. "Perhaps there's something about this place that connects them." With newfound determination, they decided it was time to investigate the specific patch of wildflowers Karen mentioned. As they followed her through the garden once more, they felt a sense of purpose guiding them forward, like they were on the brink of uncovering something significant. When they reached the flowers, Lisa knelt down and gently touched one of the vibrant blooms. She closed her eyes for a moment, allowing memories of Emily and Max to wash over her like waves crashing against the shore. Suddenly, a faint scent wafted through the air, a familiar fragrance that brought tears to her eyes. It reminded her of Emily's favorite perfume mixed with the sweetness of blooming flowers. A rush of emotion surged within her. It was as if Emily's spirit lingered in this place. "Max must have sensed it too," Tom said quietly as he watched Lisa connect with the moment. As they stood together among the wildflowers, surrounded by love and memories, they felt united not only as a family but also with Emily's presence that seemed to linger in this magical garden, a bond that would guide them through whatever adventures lay ahead. As Lisa, Tom, and Max stood among the wildflowers, feeling the comforting presence of memories intertwined with the fragrance of Emily, Karen approached them with a kind smile. "I don't know if you've heard, but this house belonged to an old friend of Emily's," she began, causing Lisa and Tom to exchange surprised glances. "An old friend?" Tom prompted, eager to learn more. "Yes. We grew up together in this neighborhood," Karen explained, her eyes brightening with nostalgia. "When we were kids, I used to take care of Max whenever Emily was away. He always loved coming over to play in the garden." Lisa's heart skipped a beat at the revelation. "You mean you used to look after him?" "How sweet," she exclaimed, feeling warmth wash over her as she envisioned Emily laughing alongside her friend while Max frolicked joyfully in the very same garden. "Absolutely," Karen continued. "I remember how much he adored Emily. Even then, he had an incredible bond with her. It was almost like he understood her every emotion." This revelation struck a chord within Lisa. It made sense now. It wasn't just random that Max had come here. The bond he shared with both Emily and Karen had rooted itself deeply into his heart. Perhaps he felt drawn here not only for the familiarity of the garden but also for the connection to childhood memories filled with love and affection. "Since Emily moved away, I've missed her so much," Karen said wistfully. "But seeing Max again is like having a piece of her back in my life." Max seemed to sense the conversation about him. He looked from Lisa to Tom, and then back at Karen, his tail wagging happily at the warmth of their voices surrounding him. The realization struck Lisa again. Max had instinctively sought out a place tied so closely to his beloved owner's past. "We're trying to find ways to help Max feel happy again," Tom said thoughtfully. "He hasn't been himself since Emily left." Karen nodded in understanding. "It's not just dogs that experience loss, it affects us all," she replied gently. Maybe Max was searching for comfort or familiarity in this garden, a place where he felt safe and loved. With renewed energy and understanding among them, they decided it was time to explore further. Lisa felt an urge to uncover everything this house might hold in terms of memories, specifically anything related to Emily that could help reassure Max. "Can you show us around?" Lisa asked Karen eagerly, her heart racing with anticipation. "Of course. I'd love to share some stories with you," Karen replied warmly. She led them through the front door and into the cozy living room, its walls adorned with photographs of a younger Emily enjoying life among friends, many candid moments captured with Max by her side. Each photograph told a story of happiness, laughter, and adventures shared between them. Lisa marveled at memories still alive within the frames, where Emily's spirit shone brightly through her smiling face. Tom leaned closer to examine one picture noticeably framed on the mantelpiece, a memory of Emily burying a treasure box in the backyard with Max beside her as a puppy, tail wagging excitedly. "Look at how small he was!" Tom exclaimed, laughing. That must have been such a fun day for them, Lisa mused as she felt warmth swell in her heart, realizing that even though they were apart now, those joyful experiences had certainly lived on, both in memory and timeless connection. As Karen continued sharing stories from the past, memories filled with laughter and fondness, Lisa felt a profound sense of comfort enveloping her. It was reassuring to hear how much love surrounded Max all throughout his life, especially from someone who genuinely cared for him. They spent the afternoon reminiscing about their shared love for Emily and Max, drawing strength from one another as they laughed and cried together over these beautiful memories that connected their lives. Little did they know that retracing these steps together would not only bring closure for themselves but also strengthen the bond they shared as a family, one connected by love that transcended distance and time. With each moment spent together in that cherished space, their faith grew that somehow, everything would fall perfectly into place once more. As they absorbed the stories and memories shared by Karen, a profound realization began to dawn on Lisa and Tom. They had always known that Max shared a special bond with Emily, but seeing how he navigated his way to this house, an old connection from her past, revealed just how deeply he felt for her. It was as if Max had followed the call of his heart, instinctively knowing where to go in search of comfort and familiarity. "Do you think he sensed that this place was important to Emily?" Lisa pondered aloud, watching as Max sniffed around the garden, blissfully unaware of their introspection. Tom nodded slowly, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. "It makes sense," he replied. "Max may not understand everything, but he certainly knows love when he feels it." He knew that going to this house might bring him closer to her spirit. Feeling a swell of pride for their loyal companion, Lisa couldn't help but kneel down and wrap her arms around Max once more. "You are one clever dog," she whispered to him, feeling tears prick her eyes. A mixture of gratitude and happiness flooded her heart. Max's journey wasn't just one of instinct, it was a testament to the cherished bond he shared with Emily. Karen watched the exchange with admiration. "Animals have an incredible way of connecting with our emotions," she explained softly. Max must have sensed how much he missed her and instinctively sought out comfort in familiar places. The air around them seemed charged with emotion as they processed this revelation. It truly showcased the strength of the love between Max and Emily, a bond that could transcend distance and time. As they stood together in the garden, surrounded by wildflowers and memories, Lisa felt renewed determination. "We have to ensure that Max feels Emily's presence in his life again," she said resolutely. "Maybe we can create new moments here that honor their connection." Tom agreed wholeheartedly, his excitement rekindled as he envisioned ways to bring joy back into Max's life without losing sight of the past. "Let's make this place a second home for him," he suggested with a grin. "This could be a special gathering spot for our family memories, where we celebrate Emily too." With their minds focused on creating new traditions while honoring their roots, they moved through the garden alongside Karen, brainstorming ways to infuse vibrancy into this shared space. They decided to plant new flowers together each season, a reminder of Emily's favorite blooms, to keep her spirit alive in their hearts. As they dug into the earth, laughter filled the air while stories about Emily flowed freely between them like a gentle stream, a blend of joy and bittersweet nostalgia. They shared anecdotes about family picnics in the park, spontaneous adventures, and moments filled with laughter, all punctuated by Max's delighted barks echoing around them. Max seemed to sense something magical was happening too. He pranced among them with renewed energy as if he understood that they were creating something meaningful for everyone involved, the kind of love that connected not only past and present but also bridged the gap between heartbeats. Their collective efforts united them all in purpose as they planted seeds near the wildflower patch, a symbolic gesture representing new beginnings while cherishing memories from years gone by. The warmth of the sun enveloped them, and an uplifting sense of hope began to wash over their small family. Little did they know that these small actions would lead to greater discoveries in their journey ahead, strengthening not only their bond with Max but also reaffirming the enduring connection with Emily that would guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead. As they tended to the garden together, Lisa realized they were healing more than just hearts, they were cultivating a legacy of love that would last far beyond their time together. The afternoon sun shone brightly on the garden as Lisa, Tom, and Max continued to share stories and laughter with Karen. Amidst the blooming flowers, it was easy to lose track of time, yet an undercurrent of anticipation lingered in the air. They all felt connected, but little did they know that their joy was about to become even more profound. As they planted new seeds together in the garden, a faint rustling sound caught their attention. Max perked up as if sensing something exciting. The three of them turned toward the path leading to the front gate, recognizing that a presence might soon arrive, someone who held a special place in their hearts. Moments later, the sound of footsteps echoed down the path. Suddenly, a familiar voice filled the air. Max! Oh, Max! The voice rang out like a long-lost song from a cherished memory. It was Emily. Heartbeats quickened as Lisa's eyes widened in disbelief. She exchanged a startled glance with Tom before they both rushed to the entrance. And there she was, Emily, looking radiant with her hair tousled from the breeze, her eyes shining with joy and tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. As soon as Max caught sight of her, all his training and instincts seemed to dissolve into pure elation. He bounded toward her with an energy that defied his earlier sadness. Emily, he barked joyfully as he dashed across the garden filled with blossoms. Emily knelt down, arms wide open. Max launched himself into her embrace, showering her with exuberant kisses as if he had only just noticed how much he had missed her. Oh, my sweet boy, she exclaimed through joyous tears, holding him tightly against her heart. It was a moment filled with love that transcended words, just pure connection between them. Lisa and Tom watched from the sidelines, their hearts swelling with emotions they could hardly contain. Each glance exchanged between them conveyed unspoken happiness, the binding love that united this family along with their beloved dog. This reunion felt almost like fate intertwining their lives once more. Once Max calmed down from his ecstatic greeting, he returned to sit beside Emily, who gently wiped away her tears as she gazed at him lovingly. I can't believe you found your way here, she said softly. I was worried sick. I'm so glad you made it back, Lisa said with a smile, stepping forward to embrace Emily tightly after finally bridging the emotional distance between them all. We were starting to think we might never see you again. I came as soon as I realized where he was, Emily explained, wiping another tear from her cheek as she stepped back to take in the garden around them. It must have been a strong pull, I wanted nothing more than to feel close to him again. Karen joined in, smiling warmly at Emily's emotional reunion with Max and contributing her voice to the connection wrought by love in that garden. He followed his heart to find comfort here, she explained gently. He knew this place held so many beautiful memories. Thank you for taking such good care of him, Emily added gratefully, cupping her hands around Max's face, bringing it close so their eyes locked, a shared understanding like nothing else existed at that moment. As sunlight dapples through the trees above them and paintbrush strokes of color dance across flowerbeds below, Lisa felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude washing over her once again. This enchanted space had rekindled love not only for Max but also for Emily, reminding them all that distance could not dilute their bonds, instead, it could strengthen them. With smiles spilling across their faces, the small family gathered aside on the garden path. Tom stood next to Emily while Lisa knelt down beside Max, once again wrapped up in a perfect circle of love that wove through every heart present. Together at last, they felt ready to embark on new adventures, the kind that would weave even more wonderful memories while nurturing every layer of love connecting them deeper than ever before. United by bond and hope, not only did they welcome back someone dear to their hearts, they also invited bright new beginnings within the garden now bursting forth with life and possibility once more. As the joyful reunion settled into a warm embrace of love and comfort, Lisa, Tom, Emily, and Max found themselves nestled among the vibrant flowers in the garden. The air was filled with laughter, yet beneath that happiness lay a profound reflection on the power of love and connection. Sitting together on the sun-kissed grass, Max sprawled comfortably by Emily's side, his head resting on her lap as she lovingly stroked his fur. The bond between them seemed to radiate warmth, a living testament to the idea that love could bridge any distance, even one created by miles or time. "Isn't it amazing?" Lisa began, her voice soft but filled with emotion. "Max followed his heart all the way here to find you. It's like he knew where to go." Tom nodded thoughtfully, glancing at Max. "It shows just how deeply he feels for you, Emily," he added. "Even when you were far away, he sensed that connection and sought out comfort here." Emily smiled through her tears, wiping away the joy that glistened in her eyes. "I've missed him so much," she said quietly. "And I think he missed me just as badly." This moment of reflection brought a wave of understanding to all of them, how vital it is for pets to feel their owner's presence in their lives, even when separated. Max's journey confirmed something they had all suspected: love knows no bounds and can guide us to where we belong. Karen joined the conversation with a gentle smile. "You know," she said thoughtfully, "animals have a unique way of sensing our emotions and connecting with us. Max must have felt that pull toward this garden because it holds so many memories for him and Emily." Lisa felt a sense of warmth spread through her chest as she reflected on how powerful that connection truly was. "It's incredible how they can sense things we often overlook," she remarked. "Max showed us that love isn't just about being physically close, it's about feeling connected in our hearts." As they sat together surrounded by blooming wildflowers and the comforting sounds of nature, they began discussing how they could continue nurturing this bond moving forward. They talked about creating new memories together, like planting flowers in honor of Emily, celebrating special occasions in this enchanting garden, and ensuring that Max always felt loved and secure. "Maybe we can make this our gathering place," Tom suggested enthusiastically. "A spot where we can celebrate life and remember Emily all at once." "Absolutely," Lisa agreed with excitement in her voice. "We can have picnics here, bring family and friends over, create moments that keep Emily's spirit alive in our hearts." With each idea shared among them, laughter bubbled up once again, an affirmation of life's beauty woven into every interaction within the garden's embrace. They envisioned future gatherings filled with joy, stories, and laughter while keeping Emily's memory alive through heartfelt traditions. As the sun began to set behind the hills, casting golden rays over the garden, Lisa felt a renewed sense of hope washing over her like a gentle wave. She realized that love could indeed bridge distances, not only between humans and animals but also among those who care deeply for one another. In that serene moment together, surrounded by nature's beauty and bound by their shared love, they understood how important it was to cherish these connections through time apart or proximity. They were creating something lasting, not just for Max but for each other too, a legacy stitched together by love that would endure through challenges yet to come. With grateful hearts and renewed spirits, the small family stood united as they embraced the journey ahead, a journey built on love that would guide them wherever life might lead. As the afternoon sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the garden, Lisa, Tom, Emily, and Max sat together in a comfortable circle. Their hearts were full, and the air was thick with the warmth of love and gratitude. They had navigated through worry, separation, and uncertainty, only to find themselves united once more, reminded of the special bond that existed not just between them but also with Max. Looking around at the vibrant flowers and lush greenery, Lisa felt an overwhelming sense of happiness. "You know," she said softly, "this garden means so much more now. It's a place where we can celebrate our love for each other and keep Emily's spirit alive." Emily nodded in agreement, her eyes sparkling as she gazed at Max. "I never realized how strong his connection to me was until I saw him come here," she reflected. "It's incredible how animals can feel what we do, even when we're apart." Tom chimed in, "Max followed his heart to find you. He knew he needed to be near someone who loved him as much as you did." The bond between them was palpable, a reminder of the loyalty animals show towards their owners and how deeply they can feel emotions. As they shared their thoughts, they recognized that love transcends distance, whether it is between family members or the bond shared with a beloved pet. Max had demonstrated this truth through his journey, seeking out comfort in a familiar place that held memories of joy and happiness from Emily's childhood. Lisa smiled as she watched Max bask in the attention he received from both Emily and Tom. "It's amazing how much he means to all of us," she said fondly. "He truly is a part of our family, a protector and loyal companion who reminds us of what matters most." With the sun setting behind them, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, Karen joined their circle again. She listened intently as they expressed their thoughts on love and loyalty. Animals have a unique way of reinforcing the importance of connection, she added wisely. They teach us that no matter where we go, or how far apart we may be, our hearts can still find each other. Inspired by this sentiment, Emily suggested they create a small memorial in the garden dedicated to their shared love, a space where they could honor not only her memories but those of Max as well. Together they brainstormed ideas for planting flowers that symbolized their journey: sunflowers for happiness, lavender for calmness, and daisies for purity. As they dug into the soil together, laughter filled the air once again while stories flowed naturally between them. They reminisced about past adventures with Max and how he had brought joy to their lives through every wag of his tail and every playful bark. Each memory shared only strengthened their bond as a family. "I think this garden is going to be our little sanctuary," Tom remarked as he planted another sunflower seed into the earth. "A place where we can always feel connected to Emily and each other." Max sniffed around happily, occasionally barking as if joining in on their conversation. It was clear that he sensed the love surrounding them. He pranced happily between them as if he understood his role in keeping their family united. As twilight fell and stars began twinkling in the night sky above them, there was an unmistakable feeling of hope lingering in the air, a belief that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The legacy of love woven throughout their journey would serve as a guiding light through any darkness. In that magical garden filled with new beginnings and cherished memories, Lisa realized that it wasn't just about keeping Emily's spirit alive, it was about nurturing the connections they shared as a family, one built on loyalty, love, and unwavering support for one another. Together they would embrace whatever adventures awaited them down life's winding path, a reminder that true love knows no limits and will always find its way home.